In this video, we will cover how to download and install Eclipse, the program that we use to write Java software in our class. This is optional. If you're just going to be working in the computer lab, you don't need to do this. But if you have a computer at home or in your dorm room that you would like to use to work on the homework assignments for this course, you'll need Eclipse. It's totally free. First, we'll figure out which version of the software you need, either 32-bit or 64-bit. Second, we'll download Java, which you'll need in order to run Eclipse. That's also free. And third, we'll download and install Eclipse. The first step is to figure out whether you need the 32-bit version or 64-bit version of Java and Eclipse. If you're running a Mac and using Mac OS X, you'll almost certainly be using the 64-bit version. Almost all Macs are recently. However, if you've got Windows, whether it's running on a PC or even if you're running Windows on a Mac, you'll want to double check. We'll open up Windows Explorer and then go to see the C drive. You'll see one of two things here. I've got Program Files as a folder and Program Files x86. That's telling me this is a 64-bit computer and a 64-bit version of Windows. If you just see Program Files but not Program Files x86, then you've got a 32-bit version of Windows. Now that we know that, let's go ahead and download Java. You'll want to do this even though you've probably already got Java installed on your computer to make sure you've got the most up-to-date version. Open up whatever browser you'd prefer and go to www.java.com/en for English /download/manual.jsp. This will give us a list of versions that we can choose from. Windows up at the top and Mac OS X right below it. For Mac OS X, you'll just choose that version. For Windows, you'll choose either Windows Offline, that's the 32-bit version, or Windows Offline 64-bit, that's the 64-bit version. I'll choose that since this is a 64-bit computer. As soon as that has downloaded, we'll run the program. In this case, I can just click on it, confirm that I want to install, and it'll run the installer. That's pretty straightforward. I'll jump ahead to once it's done. Great, we've got Java installed. Now let's download Eclipse. Open up your browser and go to eclipse.org and look for the big download button. At the very top of this page is the Eclipse IDE. That's a development environment so we can create programs for Java developers. That's going to be us. I'm running Windows, it figures that out and it shows me the Windows download, but if it doesn't correctly figure it out, there's a little drop down for you. Let's say you're running Mac and it doesn't switch you to the Mac side. We get a little warning, Mac users, that you need to be running Mac OS X 10.5, that's Leopard, or greater. That may have changed since I created this video, so make sure that you've got a good enough, late enough version of Mac OS X to run Eclipse. Let me switch back to Windows, and then I'm going to choose either 32-bit or 64-bit. I want 64-bit so that it matches my version of Windows and matches the version of Java that I downloaded. This takes me to a mirror page. I can click the giant download button to start the download. Just as a heads up, the downloads are pretty large, about 150 to 200 megabytes, and the download process for Eclipse is kind of slow. So this may take you several minutes for it to actually go through and download. Unlike a lot of software, Eclipse doesn't have an installation program. We have to put the files in the right place ourselves. I'll open up Windows Explorer and then go find my downloaded file. In this case, it's in Downloads. Here it is, Eclipse Java. The rest may be a little bit different for you. And it's a zip file, it's a compressed file. I'm going to double click on that and I've got an Eclipse folder inside of that. And I just want to get this out of there. Temporarily, I'm just going to copy it to the desktop, but we'll put it somewhere better in just a little while. It's done copying. I can close my old folder and open up that Eclipse folder on my desktop. Here's where the key parts of the program are. Most importantly, eclipse.exe, the application. I'm going to double click on this, and it's going to give me a warning because I downloaded this from the internet. If I click run directly, it'll just run Eclipse, but I can also uncheck this box to make sure it doesn't ask me that in the future. Now I'll click run. Now we're going to move the Eclipse folder and all its files off the desktop. That's an optional step. You don't have to do that, but I like to keep a nice clean desktop as best I can. I'm going to copy it to the program files folder. You can really copy it anywhere that you want to keep it. But I'll open up Windows Explorer, click on the C drive, and click on program files. And then I'll just drag this in here. I don't want it to go into the folder, so I can kind of drag up at the top or the side where it'll just go into program files. Program files is a special folder where you need permission in order to do this. For most other folders, you won't need to do this extra step, but I'm going to need to tell it to continue. Great. Now it's copied the folder into program files. The only problem is I don't want to have to open up Windows Explorer, C, program files, and Eclipse every time I want to open up and run Eclipse. Instead, I'm going to double click here, find the Eclipse program, and I'm going to click and drag it down to my start menu. When I let go, it gets dropped right on the start menu, and I can start it easily. If you're sharing this computer with other people, you don't want it right there, you can also instead click and drag it in all programs, and it'll copy it over there. Then I can right click and remove from this list. Now it's in my all programs, but not right up at the front.